And welcome to Cottage Talk Full Time. I'm Russ Coleman. Joining me right now is Emilio Donnell. This is our initial reaction show. The Fulham's 1-1 draw against Newcastle United. Emilio and I have already talked off air. I think we disagree if Fulham deserved more than a point. I think it's 2 points dropped, Emilio. It sounds like based on what you and I were talking about, you think that it's a good point. I guess you could say it's a good point. I think Fulham deserved all 3 points. We're going to go through it. Give me your initial reaction.
So first and foremost, I'm wearing my Christmas jumper in honor of English residents who are heartbroken today after Christmas has been cancelled. So
Yes.
I'm not so that's the reason why I'm wearing my Christmas top on today in honor of celebrating Christmas. I was hoping to celebrate 3 points tonight as well, but it wasn't meant to be be honest. So it's gutted. To be honest, it's I thought we controlled that first half very, very well. I thought, the nature of the goal, yes, it was an own goal, but we should have taken our chances early. And if anything, I was disappointed not to be 2-0 up at halftime.
I agree with that.
Theoretically, we paid the price for that. You only lead 1-0. It just takes a poor refereeing decision. It takes anything can happen a split second, and unfortunately, we paid the price for that. I thought it wasn't a penalty. Initially looking at it 2 or 3 times like the referee did, definitely wasn't a penalty. But there was contact outside the box. So in theory, Anderson deserved to be sent off. Now, whether it was straight red or whether it's just a second yellow card, maybe Fulham will appeal that. But overall, Newcastle were poor first half, but they were knocking on the door in the lead up to that. I'm going to be honest with you. They did start to look threatening. Obviously, you made the comment off air that they didn't score against 10 men.
They didn't.
They were starting to threaten. They obviously had more intent straight off the second half. They obviously got to kick up the backside. They were more direct with their passing. We were conceding a few needless fouls, to be honest, and we were being a little bit more sloppy in defence. A little bit more unsettled, shall we say? Then actually more unsettled than against Brighton and against Liverpool, funnily enough. And at the end of the day, yes, it was controversial. People will disagree whether it's a straight red or only a yellow, but to get double punished, was disappointing. But overall, was it a fair result? At the end of the day, I'd probably say it was a fair result. If anything, we'll be disappointed to have to have conceded. But overall, I think over the balance of playing 90 minutes, I thought second half Fulham, we hung on well. We did what we had to do with 10 men. But leading up to that penalty, Newcastle were knocking on the door, and I was worried that we were going to sit back for 45 minutes and defend a 1-0 lead.
That could have happened, Emilio, but we've seen what that looked like with 10 men. I think it would have looked better with 11 men. And again, we're going to talk about that because I have some thoughts on that. But my initial thoughts on this, my initial reaction is this is 2 points dropped. I thought Fulham were the better side. I agree with you. They should have been up by more than a goal at halftime. Bobby Decordova-Reid's miss was, again, what a wonderful opportunity. And unfortunately, that was a terrible miss by Bobby Decordova-Reid. Fulham should have been up a couple goals at the half.
And that's the difference. That's the problem. The point is, you don't take. I keep saying week in, week out, when you aren't blessed with goals in a team, the few chances you create, your success rate has got to be higher. Yes, we deserve to go 1-0 up, but we paid the price for not being 2-0 up, and we had the chances to be take the lead earlier and probably have buried the game by half time. So we can only blame ourselves for that. You can't blame Newcastle. Fulham didn't take their chances. So
no, that's on Fulham. Absolutely, Emilio. That's completely on Fulham because they could have been up by more than a goal. And then I think this whole match is completely different. But when I look at it, and let's start here. Let's, again, just focus on the first half. You tell me who was the better side in the first half. We've already been talking about you thought Fulham should have been up by a couple goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and again, we could say that, it was a fortunate goal. I don't think it's so fortunate because, again, it was a nice header by Adebayo. And yes, it's an own goal, Emilio. Yeah. But I thought Fulham deserved that goal.
Yeah. You need a bit of luck sometimes. And at the end of the day, Adebayo looks dangerous from set pieces. So, again, he winning the ball comfortably from that corner, and again he put the defender under pressure. So Matt Ritchie, wasn't expecting that ball straight in his face, and that's the luck of the game, right? So sometimes some go your way, some they don't. But overall, I thought we were disappointed not to go in that with a 2-goal cushion. I think, and then the game would have been a different story. The second half, we started giving the ball away cheaply. Look at if you actually forget the fact that from a penalty, we made a mistake. Aina, I think it was, gave away a sloppy ball. Sloppy, the way he had all the time in the world and passed it straight to a Newcastle player. And then it was literally 3 against 3. We automatically put our players under pressure. Next minute, Anderson was caught at the wrong side of Wilson, fouled him outside the box. We got the double punishment for that. But ultimately, Aina, don't give the ball away cheaply. Sloppy ball. that put us immediately under pressure. So let's just turn the clock back 30 seconds earlier, and you'll see what I mean. That's what annoyed me. Then Tom Kenny, you could argue, maybe could have tracked better, tracked his man a lot better. But ultimately, it's that cheap ball you give away. And sometimes you make your own mistakes, you pay for it. So.
Let me ask you this, because again, we're going to go through the key moments in just a second, but let's start off before the match began, and actually right before the match began, when we saw the starting 11, Cavallero was in it, Emilio. And then there was a last-minute change, and now you had Bobby Decadoveri. But I want to ask you this, because this is one of the talking points from the announcers throughout the match, was especially in the first half, that how Fulham were set up. They were set up similarly to how they played the last several matches, and how they were passing the ball around. But, again, at times it was a road to nowhere. But they were controlling the play. And, like you said, for me, I thought they were set up fine. What were your thoughts on how Scott set the team up? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think again, it's a different game to the Brighton game, where Brighton gave us no space. They allowed us to play, but they were literally tracking us back. So we had no space against Brighton. I think that's where we got frustrated on Wednesday night, where we offered very little and in a very, very poor draw. But today we had more space, more freedom, which is why we dominated the game. And we keep saying, if we play teams who allow us to play football, like Newcastle sit back, try to absorb pressure, and then try to play on the break. And, that they allowed us to play, which is why I thought we dominated possession. It was about 68% to 32, I think it was. Something ridiculous as that. But overall, we were in control. We were passing the ball well. The pace and the tempo was a lot different than against Liverpool. So it's
very different.
By putting Mitro and Kearney, naturally, you're going to play a different style of football. You're going to, obviously, Tom Kearney, did the simple things well. But at times, I thought, again, doing what Tom does best. I know Chris probably won't like what I'm going to say, but be more direct, please. Go forward a little bit more rather than doing this passing back and playing safety first. So if that was against Liverpool, we would have been a lot more. We would have gone forward a lot more. So I thought Tom slowed the game down a little bit too often in that first half. And look, I'm going to say time and time again, we paid the price for not being clinical in that first half. And with that domination,
I go back to this huge miss, Emilio.
I don't think he was fit. I don't think Bobby Decadoveri was fit today. He missed two chances. He missed that one opportunity in particular. He missed. He should have buried that. But this goes back to what we say. I know he's our top scorer this season, but consistently, he's missing the simple chances and maybe scoring the more difficult chances. So it's disappointing he didn't score, but somebody else there might have done better. But overall, you rue your missed chances, and I think that's what we did. I think that's why, yes, controlling first half, but you've got to be more clinical. And you've got to kill these games off. And they were there for the taking, Newcastle. They were there.
They were absolutely there. And that's what really frustrates me, Emilio. Again, nothing against Newcastle in general, but I'm just telling you, going into the match, I thought this was a match Fulham could win. Watching the match, I think if you don't have the red card, Fulham win this match. Well, again, we could talk about the penalty too, because again, if you don't have that situation, we'll talk about it. I should include. Yeah. If you don't have the penalty, Fulham win this match. I completely believe that, even if Anderson and he would have been sent off regardless. So I think Fulham hang on for the 1-0 victory. I truly believe that, unless if they hit that free kick. But, again, at the half, I just want to go to your thoughts. I think I got an idea of what you were thinking at the half. What I was thinking was, okay, they're in control, but they need a second goal. I was very happy with how they played in the first half, but I thought that, as we saw, that Newcastle United would have to change things up and would come out very differently, and they did, and they controlled the play like you mentioned. So I thought they needed to weather the storm, and unfortunately they didn't. So I guess what I thought about at halftime, weathering the storm, it didn't happen, actually came true. What were you thinking at halftime?
Yeah, similarly, I was saying to a couple of people, Steve Reynolds, I also spoke to Rob Wilson, just messaging backwards and forwards, and we were saying, first half so far so good, controlling, reasonably dominating the game, but that second goal, when you're so much better than your opposition, and plus you're playing away from home, you've got to take your chances, and we didn't do that, and that always bugs me, to be honest. I was worried that you're only hanging. I won't say hanging on. You only got 1-0 cushion. It just takes one moment. Whether it's controversial or not, just a moment, it takes nothing. A split second, Newcastle can score, get a free kick, get a corner, get a penalty, whatever it may be. And to be honest, I thought it was our own downfall. I think although we dominated the first half, it was our own downfall that we weren't 2-0 up. The the penalty, put aside the controversy around whether it was or wasn't a penalty. You don't give away a sloppy pass, leader. 30 seconds later, penalty. You know, it's those naive moments. That's that poor decision making, or just those weak moments from a passing perspective that can lead to a downfall. That's what it only takes. One bad pass, you put your opposition on the front foot, and then we were defending. And what happens from that? You get a red card and you get a penalty conceded, which they score from. So that's our own doing. Sorry, I don't blame the referee for giving the penalty. I blame we put ourselves under unnecessary pressure.
We did, and that's fair criticism. That's actually fair criticism. Okay, my friend, we're now going to go and look at the key moments of the second half, and we'll end with man of the match right after this. Okay, Emilio, let's get to it, and let's talk about the controversial moment of the second half. Was it a penalty? And just so you know, I watched it back several times here on NBC Sports on Peacock. Robbie Musto, one of the commentators, they slowed it down. They showed you that Anderson was following him outside of the box when they really slowed it down. And then Callum Wilson dived. There's no other way to put it. He dived. He saw Adebayo, and he dived. He was fouled outside of the box. This should not have been a penalty. I'm sorry. It definitely shouldn't have been a penalty. I'm going to share some comments because I saw one that I want to share. This is from our friend Steve Reynolds. So I'm going to share this. Scotty just said that contact was outside the box and Wilson dived. I'm going to tell you, Emilio, Wilson dived.
Yeah, Wilson dived. And, and to be honest, I'm going to be neutral here. I'm always a neutral person, whether it's pro or contrary against Fulham. We dived a few times today, and maybe the decision didn't. Let's be very honest.
Oh, we did.
Callum Wilson dived and got successful for it. Lookman dived a couple of times today.
He absolutely did. That's fair.
We could have got a penalty for Lookman diving. So
Mitro flopped a few times. I saw that too.
So that on this particular occasion, Wilson did dive.
Yep.
Got what he won. He got the penalty, but he also got the red card. And to be honest, that's a bit of naivety. Again, it goes back to Aina giving the ball away cheaply. But Anderson already on a yellow card. And I think there was another incident about 10 minutes earlier, I think it was, where Anderson slightly lucky that he didn't get another yellow card or a warning from the referee. I don't know if you remember that incident. So Anderson had a particularly poor game today. Early yellow cards. Could have got a second yellow card before the penalty and didn't. And then obviously he was left on the wrong side of Wilson, who's a lot quicker, a lot stronger than him. And, we pay the price for that. But sometimes I'm saying a lot of players are diving these days. And, at the end of the day, well, Max, doesn't matter. We didn't win a penalty for it. Let's focus on the rest. But again, it's the end of the day. It's a wrong decision as far as I'm concerned. Anderson deserves to get yellow carded. Second yellow, off he goes. But ultimately, it's a decision making leading up to it, not the refereeing decision. Refereeing decisions, some go our way, some don't. But we're not the refs here. It's a disappointing outcome. I don't think it was a penalty. We were robbed for that particular instant, but it could have been a lot different if we put ourselves under unnecessary pressure, which is a point I want to reflect on.
Okay.
Okay,
I hear what you're saying, and that's fair because you're looking at, well, what did we do to lead up to this?
Yeah, we it was our own doing. And the referee didn't help matters by giving away a penalty, which wasn't warranted, to be honest. And admittedly, that's so it's. But let's also look at the other moments as well leading up to that. That was our own doing, not the referees.
Okay, boy, we are getting so many comments, and I'm just again, we just don't have time to go through a lot of these comments. Some really good comments, guys. Just keep them coming. And Emilio, so unfortunately, they score on the penalty. And also, Anderson gets sent off. So Fulham are down for a long period of time. I think you and I were disagreeing off air on this. I thought it was a valiant performance after that point because, in my opinion, they showed how far they've come defensively.
Absolutely.
Put up with being down a man against a team like that, and again, you're away from home. I know there are no fans there. But I thought that was a very good, not just defensive performance. I want to mention this, Emilio. They're down to 10 men. They're pushing to score that winning goal.
Yeah,
Most teams wouldn't do that. The announcers mentioned that. How often did Fulham still try to go forward? Not in the last 5 to 10 minutes, but before that.
Yeah.
They were
Still
still
trying,
playing
yeah.
their game.
There was
They
a
were
moment, Lookman, for example. I remember Lookman was in a good
yeah,
position and maybe a little bit greedy and selfish. Maybe should have just passed out wide to Anderson, not to Anderson, to I've got a blind moment. So, but anyway, I can't remember who it was. But anyway, I remember Lookman again being a little bit greedy at times, a little bit selfish. But I agree with you. I thought the second half, there were moments when we were trying to press and put Newcastle on the back foot. But
even down a man.
unfortunately, when you're down to 10 men, you have to shut shop at times, and we did that well. Beginning of the season, we would have lost that game. If we first
That's
4 or
also
5
my
games, we
point,
would have lost that game. But we defended resolutely. But the frustration for me is, put aside the frustration with the refereeing, it's being clinical. And Mitrovic, we haven't really talked much about him.
No, we haven't.
Again, first half looked solid. He was holding up the ball well. Bringing players into, getting players into around him. But ultimately, didn't look interested at times. Looked disinterested. Looked a little bit lethargic. Still doesn't look fit to me. Something's not quite right there. But I'm not sure if he wants to play for the club or not. His confidence completely shot to pieces. But it's goals win you matches. And sometimes, again, my frustration is I'm banging on about it tonight. Is if you don't take your chances, you may pay the price for it. You've got refereeing decisions, positive or negative, that can influence a game. And if we were 2-0 up, even if they had a penalty, it would still be 2-1 as opposed to 1-1. And that's my point. But second half, I commend the team for defending well. Hector makes me very nervous.
Well, I'm going to share some comments about
extremely nervous. He looked awful.
I'm just going to share some comments about Michael Hector, okay? Because you mentioned to it me off there. Worried if we have to start Hector. This is obviously going.
I know he's rusty. He hasn't played for a couple of months, but Jesus, he looked awful. His defensive clearances were awful. He kept mistiming his passes. He got a yellow card. He did a Stefan Johansson there. So it worries me if he's going to come in against Southampton.
Yeah. And I have a feeling he is, but we'll only see. We'll have to wait and see, I should say.
Definitely.
But, but this goes back to, again, what I said about the team. The performance, obviously, I feel like they needed to get 3 points. I thought they deserved 3 points. But, again, I felt proud after this, and Stefan says, made us proud. Robin Pendrell, someone was proud of the team tonight, and I am proud of the team. I'm very proud of the team because 2 seasons ago, this doesn't happen. We lose, okay? Even earlier in the season, we lose, Emilio. They've come so far. Now, obviously, getting all 3 points changes everything in the table. But as this team's building, I'm just, again, I'm just proud. I can still see progress, guys.
Absolutely.
I can see progress. Everyone's commenting. I can see a lot of progress.
Yeah, no, it's again, I thought the Liverpool game was more 2 points drop than tonight, for example. Even the Brighton game was a more, again, a tricky game. But, those are games you need to be winning. And getting a point away from Newcastle and beating them at home, getting 4 points out of 6 against the teams around you, that's what you need to be achieving. But it's referee hasn't helped us tonight, to be honest. Hopefully, I'm not too sure. I'm seeing mixed reactions. If it's a straight red, is it three match ban, or is it a 1? I thought it's a 3-match ban if it's a red card, in which case I'm sure the club will appeal it. But if it's, some people are saying it's only a 1-match ban, so I'm not an expert on this. But let's see what the likes of Steve Lydiard, what the view is there, whether it's a 3-match ban or a single-match ban. But overall, we keep draws a point's a point. A valuable point. We'll have taken a point before the game, but we need to be converting these points into wins. That's the thing. And the missing factor here is goals.
Yes.
It's the goals that keep costing us, to be honest. And it's not the refereeing decision. So fans may get off their high horses and put aside the refereeing decision tonight. In many games where we haven't won the game or lost by a single point, what's been a common denominator typically is lack of goals.
Right. I agree with you.
Right. So I'm being just genuine and stop blaming refereeing for all our lack of points being racked up on the board. It's not about refs.
Well, I've never been one that wants to blame the refs, but I think it's part of the story. No. But there's also another part of the story. But we do have to talk about one other incident at the end of the match. Emilio, I don't think Fulham deserved the penalty. I know others feel that they did at the very end. What are your thoughts about the handball?
First reaction I thought is, if the Kamara handball, I know it's different types of instance, but Kamara's was given as a penalty to Liverpool.
That's a good point.
Is this any different in terms of Kamara didn't see the ball?
I saw someone message that here.
Comment
on that. What's the difference?
Kieran Ryan's hand was down, didn't know much about it. So, but I don't know enough about the rules. The rules are so complicated. You have to ask a professional referee. I'm sure there'll be mixed opinion, but
Yep.
I didn't think it was a penalty.
Well, we're going to have Steve
penalty.
Lydiard on the post-match, though, so obviously we're going to talk about a
It's
good amount of
rules, you know,
referee decisions.
What does the rule say? You know, to be honest, if the Kamara one was a penalty last week against us, then I would have thought, well, why was this a penalty in favour of ourselves? But Steve Lydiard is the closest to that we know from a capability perspective, from a refereeing perspective. He should be able to give us an opinion whether it was or not. I think his view offline to me was it wasn't a penalty. It was
okay. Well, I'm just going to share some comments from our co-host. Giannis says it looks like a pen, and then Max backs him up on that. So again, that's where they're going on that, and I understand why they're going on that.
Is on the assumption that we feel that anything that touches a hand is a handball and a penalty. I don't. Again, there's different rules that applies to the handball. So I think let's get the experts to opine on that rather than us speculating whether it was or not. I'm being honest. Again, I'm being honest.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. That's why it's going to be great to have Steve on in our next show. That will make a difference because Steve's a ref, and Steve can give us exactly his thoughts on all of these situations. But I want to end here, Emilio, because again, I feel that it's 2 points dropped, but I thought that there were some good performances here. Who's your full man of the match? Can I say mine's Mario Lemina?
Yeah, mine too as well. I thought, I was surprised he didn't start against Brighton on Wednesday. Maybe it was tactical now. Maybe the fact there was 3 games in a week and he wanted to protect him for the away game against Newcastle rather than a home game against Brighton. So I thought he had an excellent game against Liverpool. And I know I've not been his biggest fan this season, but I'll give players credit where it's due. And I thought, for me, he was my man of the match. He ran his socks off and defended well.
Tackled really
and
well.
He looked strong and big as well. Big player for us. And I thought he was a close second for me. Them two looked outstanding in the middle of the pitch today.
Okay, got one for Anguissa. If anyone's watching live, feel free to share your thoughts on man of the match.
First half in particular, Anguissa. He looked strong, making good runs.
Just going to share them as they come in.
Yeah. Yeah, but overall, it's I thought Lemina had his best game in a Fulham shirt today. Ran his socks off.
I'm seeing a lot for Lemina and a few for Anguissa. So there you go. So I think you kind of nailed it there, my friend.
Yeah, overall, good spirited performance. But it's my frustration is, just killing the game off where you can. And I just worry these couple points here, couple points there that we keep dropping.
I know.
I know we've got 10 points on the board now, but we still need another 20 or so. That's another 7 wins still. So mathematically, it's still possible. Of course, it's possible, but you've got to start killing these games off, converting draws into victories. But it's momentum. When's the last time we conceded from open play?
That's already been pointed out from people commenting here, and that's a great point. I think it was Max that actually.
Man City. So we've gone what? Yeah. Liverpool had 90 minutes, Brighton 90 minutes, Newcastle 90 minutes. And half a game against Man City. That's what.
You think about that.
Nearly 320 minutes without conceding from open play. So look at that. Yeah, against Aston Villa, we conceded 3 goals in the first half. So it just puts into perspective how far we've come as a team. So very proud of the team, but we need another striker in January. That's.
I'm seeing a lot of comments about that too, my friend. A lot of comments about
need
that.
Another striker.
And I'm going to share this from Max, and I'll be doing the post-match show with Max and Steve Lydiard. This is what Max said. We simply don't concede from open play anymore. Massive improvement at the back. Max is right, Emilio. That's a huge takeaway from this match.
Yeah, I said 3.5 games we've not conceded, as I mentioned. So good. But again, Anderson didn't have his bet. Forget the incident of the penalty. He struggled tonight. Again,
he did.
So again,
he actually really struggled against Callum Wilson. That was pretty obvious.
He did today. The yellow card. I said the incident before he got sent off. There was another moment that on another day he might have got another yellow card for that. So yeah, he got didn't have his best game tonight. It doesn't help you when the referees are not in your favour. But I still firmly believe some decisions will go your way, others won't. Over the course of the season, they tend to net themselves out. But it is frustrating when clearly Wilson dived.
He totally dived. He absolutely dived. All right, my friend, before we wrap this up, bonus topic. Biggest takeaway from the match. What do you take away? What's the biggest takeaway for you?
I think just the spirit of the team, especially, from being down to 10 men for half an hour or so. And to be honest,
That's where I go, my friend.
I
Like I
think the
said,
spirit, we've gelled as a team, we performed well as a team. It didn't create many opportunities. Let's be very frank. They looked very, very poor to me, and that's also frustration. So I don't think there's much between the two teams. And similarly with Crystal Palace, if we played Crystal Palace now rather than 2 months ago, I think we'd beat Crystal Palace quite comfortably now. So overall, my takeaway is, we didn't concede an open play. We were down to 10 men. Our heads didn't drop. But there were still a few nervy moments, but we did what we had to do. We defended and still tried to make things happen, albeit maybe a little bit, sometimes it's just got to be a little bit more composed and patient. And maybe like I said, was that a penalty in injury time? I don't know. I'd like to see Steve's comments, though.
Okay, very good. And my biggest takeaway is similar to yours. It was the fact that Fulham were still taking it to Newcastle United being down a man, that they really didn't change their mentality until very late in this match. That to me was impressive, that they still went for the win. And most teams don't do that, Emilio. Most teams don't, and when you think of Parker, you're thinking he's just going to just play conservative. The players didn't play conservative until the very end. So I want to give Parker credit, and I really want to give the players credit. That's my biggest takeaway, is that the players still went for the win.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just we didn't fall apart, did we? I think that's the key.
No.
We kept our shape reasonably well. Even a linesman, I think, it gave away some cheap, the Lamina foul. That wasn't a foul in the second half. Again, that just puts unnecessary pressure on defence. And so just a few little things. We didn't get the rub of the green from the referee, but overall we got a point. But these are the games you need to start snatching 3 points from and start just pushing away from that bottom three. But whilst Brighton, Burnley, and the other teams keep dropping points as well, we've still got a chance to stay up. So let's get some more investment in January, get another striker in, and maybe we can convert these draws into wins.
Okay, I'm just going to share this. This is from Des Lynch, and then we're going to just finish the show. My biggest takeaway is that we play against 12 men these days. I had to share that.
It's unfortunate. Some decisions go your way, some they don't. As I'm afraid, it feels like it's always going against us. But you could argue against Brighton, maybe things went off. The VAR helped us on Wednesday night. So again, it's net.
Yep.
Some you win, some you lose. It's frustrating. I get that, but we've just got to keep hanging in there and not losing against the teams around us. More important, and we didn't do that tonight.
No, we didn't. We didn't. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Cottage Talk Full Time. For my co-host, Emilio Donnell, I'm Russ Goldman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Cottage Talk.